All rise. Vous vous levez. Please be seated. We will swap.
Thank you very much. Witness, welcome back. Mr. Steinberg.
Thank you, Your Honours. Court officer to call up Ken OTP 0036-0091 for broadcast only in the courtroom. And, Your Honours, this is found at tab 5 of the prosecution bundle.
Mr. President, my concern is in showing the witness that document, and I would pray that before you show the document, I be hard on it. Mr. President, I would pray that the witness be required, considering that he says he has a recollection of that document, that he explains to the court his recollection of the content and the effect of that letter before issuing.
Your Honours, the document is not produced for the proof of its contents. It's in the nature of a complaint. It's not written by this witness.
Mr. President, may I?
Let Mr. Steinberg, unless you're withdrawing your objection.
Mr. President, my anxiety is to have the witness establish that he has a recollection of it. Some of the comments already made by my learned colleague border on prompting the witness on its content. I have no objection to him making his observations, but if he can make his observations in a way that doesn't prompt the witness until you make your ruling on that issue.
Mr. Steinberg, you've heard the complaint,
yes,
the concerns expressed.
Your Honour, all I wish to do is have the witness identify the document. He says he has seen it. He did not write it. I do not intend really to traverse the contents of it. It's a hearsay document written by somebody else. This witness can't stand as to the contents. It is admitted more as part of the raised gestae, which led to events which I've already dealt with about the mentioning of certain names on CAS FM.
The document at tab 5, you say?
Correct, Your Honour.
As part of the res gestae, did you see the date? Never mind. Mr. Steinberg, KenyaMOJA.com, does the explanation given by the prosecution at least allay your concerns to any extent?
It doesn't at all, Mr. President. If the witness has a recollection of the letter having been written, the only way I would understand is that he has that recollection in terms of the content of that letter. It can be the color of the letter or the print in the letter. And so if he's being shown and he says he recollects having seen it in that moment at the time when the incident occurred, then ideally he should be asked to recollect the content of that letter before he's shown, Your Honor. My argument is that showing him the letter will not remind him in terms of the text or the color. It has to be the content, and I would pray that that content be highlighted by the witness before he's shown.
Mr. Steinberg, the concern, of course, is that this doesn't lead or result into, as it were, leading the witness on contentious issues. So for that reason, it is a reasonable concern that Mr. KenyaMOJA.com has indicated.
Very well. I'm content to ask the witness some further details about this statement. I beg your pardon, this document. I'll say no more in case I'm accused of leading. This letter, Mr. Witness, what was it about?
It was about a complaint that Mr. Sang was mentioning names of people in public.
To whom was the letter addressed?
I don't remember, Your Honor.
Can you recall who the letter was sent to? Which organization?
The President, I think
Yes,
that is...
yes, sir. Objection sustained.
All right. In whose name was the letter sent, or names?
I remember copy was copied to Ruto Arab Kirwa. A copy of that letter went to the body which regulates media, and in Kenya, I don't remember the body now. And I remember the letter was signed by Mr.
Didn't mention the
Yes, number 6 and number 1. And Your Honor, if I look at this at the signature of number 6, I'll be able to identify if that is the document or not.
I've already said the contents are not that important for me, but besides the mentioning of names, can you recall any other complaints that were raised?
I don't recall now, Your Honor.
Your Honor, the witness has stated he will be able to identify the document. I think I've laid sufficient basis to show the document at this stage. I ask then the document 00360091 is called up.
Mr. Steinberg, could you please confirm the level of confidentiality of the document?
Yes, thank you, Madam. As mentioned before, it's confidential. Please for display only in the courtroom. All right. Do you see that document in front of you? That's the first page of the document.
Yes, Your Honor.
And before I ask you questions, can I ask that the third page, 0093, is called up? Is that there? Sorry, can we zoom out a little bit? I can't. I'm interested in the first few signatures in the prosecution exhibits. The witness has identified it. It's true that he's not certain of the date, but he's identified the signatures and certain of the addressees.
Any objection?
Yes, Mr. President, I would object. Mr. President, the first reason is clearly the witness does not know the contents of this letter. At least that has not been traversed. Secondly, Your Honor, we are aware that the prosecution still has witnesses, and it is our conviction that this document can be taken through subsequent witnesses for purposes of the content and the circumstances of the date, and the other circumstances that the witness says he can't recall. Mr. President, for those reasons, we would object to this witness being the person to produce the document. He has clearly dissociated himself from the way it was made, the contents, and other than knowing that a letter was written.
Ms. Alagendra?
Your Honor, we support the objection of my learned friend, Mr. Keegan Katwa, and additionally, there's nothing to suggest that this letter was in fact sent anywhere, and we don't know when it was in fact created, and whether or not it was not created for the purposes of this trial.
Objection is overruled. The witness said that he had seen the document. The rest you can deal with counsel for the defense in your cross-examination. The document is admitted as the next in the prosecution exhibit.
The document KEN OTP 00360091 confidential will bear the number EVD T OTP 00244.
Thank you, Madam. Moving away from this document then, what else can you tell us about the role of KSFM and Mr. Sang in the lead up to the 2007 elections?
Throughout this period, Mr. Sang continued to play the song that I mentioned earlier, and people use the platform to communicate mostly to the Kalenjins on issues that were taking place politically, and used the platform of KSFM to continue instigating enmity between the Kalenjin and the Kikuyu. Especially, like the use of this kind of messages sent to the people by mentioning names was one aspect that made the people start to fear to talk and disassociate with people who seem to be supporting the opposition.
How did KSFM instigate enmity between the Kalenjin and the Kikuyu?
They allowed people to use their platform, the platform of this FM radio, to continue calling and campaign. Also, the words, mostly the leaders of the Kalenjin use this platform to pass information to the Kalenjin community against the Kikuyu.
What sort of information?
Sensitive information, Your Honor.
Just one follow-up question. You mentioned that, well, firstly, who on KSFM in particular was responsible for this?
I beg your pardon, Your Honor.
You mentioned that KSFM in general was used to convey inciting information. Who in KSFM was responsible for this? Which person?
Joshua Rapsang, Your Honor.
Can you pause there, Mr. Steinberg? Private session. For...
We are back in open session, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Stand back. Sorry for interrupting your flow there. How are we doing? You indicated this witness would be done today by you.
Yes, Your Honours, we obviously had a very late start today, but I'm still hopeful that we'll be able to wrap it up.
I'm sure you can wrap it up.
Yes. Thank you, Your Honours.
Yes.
All right, I can't do that in public. Very well. I would like to then move on to a new issue, Your Honours, which I'm going to have to deal with in private session, unfortunately. It will be identifying. I think I will just, while we're in public session, ask one follow-up question on the issue of CAS FM, and then I'll be moving on to new issues.
You waiting for?
Sorry, I did. I say I would have to deal with this issue in private session. I'm sorry.
You want to go to private session? Oh,
I beg your pardon.
A private session then.
What did you do as a result of this call?
I informed the investigators of the ICC about the call that I had received and the contents of discussion, Your Honor.
And was it as a result of that that you came to make a statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Would it assist your memory of the dates to refer to your statement, Mr. Witness?
It will assist, Your Honor.
And will it assist your memory regarding the name by which you discussed Mr. Ruto with person 22?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I think it is fairly important that I establish a timeline in respect of the events which will follow, and to that end I request permission to refresh the memory as to the date of the call and as to the name by which Mr. Ruto was referred. The witness has indicated that these details are contained in his statement, and he's indicated that it would assist his memory if he's able to refer to those.
Salagendra.
Your Honor, except to highlight that these are statements the witness went over just a few days ago, we don't have any objection to this.
Thank you. Proceed, Mr. Steinberg.
Thank you, Your Honours. If I can ask the court officer to call up Ken OTP 0103 2473 R03, redacted version 3. This is a confidential document. Thank you. I see it is up. Do you see your name on that document, Mr. Witness? I won't read it out. We're in public session.
Yes, Your Honor, I can see my name.
And if I can ask the court officer to scroll down to the bottom, can you please identify your signature there?
Yes, Your Honor, I can identify my signature.
Which one is it?
The first one, Your Honor.
The one on the left.
Yes, Your Honor.
And is it correct that the statement was deposed to over 2 days on the 29th and 30th of May 2013?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can I then please ask the court officer to pull up page 2478 of the same version, in particular the first 3 paragraphs. And I'd ask you, Mr. Witness, to read the first paragraph, paragraph 24, and tell us when you're finished. Just that paragraph, please.
Your Honor, I believe we're in a public session.
We are, Your Honor, but I'm being careful not to.
Yes, but there's a name that's there. Person number 22, is that?
Yes, Your Honor. When I asked him to read, not to read it out loud. So if you can just read the paragraph and let us know when he's finished.
Yes, Your Honor, I got you right that I don't read it loud.
The document is not being broadcast to the public.
Your Honor, if I may, for us, we of course would like all of this to be in public session, but my learned friend is referring to very specific conversations between this witness and others. And I'm not sure whether the detail is going to reveal the identity of this witness. But it's up to my learned friend. The detail of the conversations. I'm not sure how many people he's had these kind of conversations with, and who knows that he has had these kind of conversations with a particular person. But for us, Your Honor, we would of course like all of this to be in public.
Your Honor, it may be, I suppose, that the person number 22 would recognize the contents of the conversation. It will become apparent, of course, that person number 22 is very well aware of the identity of the witness and the fact that he is a witness. So I'm not sure what would be protected by dealing with this in private session. My concern, of course, is that obviously the witness's security comes first, but from the prosecution's perspective, it's unfortunate if what is broadcast in the public is the fact of witnesses recanting and the fact of witnesses making allegations against the prosecution and other witnesses. But what we allege to be the truth behind that is kept hidden in the courtroom. This, in our submission, would cause a distorted picture to be broadcast to the public at large.
But why do we have only a numeric identifier in the PIS for person number 22?
Because other people might be aware of his relationship with the witness.
In fact, isn't Ms. Alegandra's concern consistent with that concern you've indicated as a reason why you have person number 22 as such in the PIS?
The main purpose why we've put person number 22 in the PIS is to protect the fact of the relationship between this witness and that person from the public at large, not from person 22, who's well aware of it. But if Your Honours are concerned that the details which I'm eliciting may, in the minds of the public at large, identify the witness, then the most prudent course of events would then be to deal with it in private session. The unfortunate result will be that the large majority of the rest of this witness's evidence will then have to be dealt with in private session.
Well, we will try our best, everyone, prosecution, defense, of course, the chamber, to be consistent. That is the thing. If we have been indicating to the witness the need to not broadcast, or rather give an open session information that is unique enough that some people will easily link him to it. I think we need to be consistent with that. And on that basis, Ms. Allegandra's suggestion is not at all unreasonable. So we should be in private session.
As the court pleases, private session then, please.
All rise. Vous vous levez. Please be seated. Vous vous asseoir.
Mr. President, for the record, we are in open session.
Thank you very much. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, witness. Mr. Steinbach, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honours. Regretfully, I must ask to return to private session, and unfortunately, I note we have an audience, but I must regretfully inform that probably most of the rest of the session will have to be conducted in private session.
Most of the rest of the session, all right. Let's go to private session then. Ms. Allegendra?
Your Honours, in fact, we would much prefer for this testimony to be done in public. And I'm not sure how my learned friend can adjust his questioning without going into exact conversations so that we can stay in public.
Yeah, but we also have to move efficiently and quickly. So let's go to private session and see how it goes.